I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Erin Jennings. I'm the Northeast Ohio Native Habitat Corridor Chair. Be your MC today. Janice is out, our normal vice president, and we have a guest speaker, Holly Stoneberg from Portage Park District, going to speak to us very shortly after I get through our agenda. Just a quick plug on our mission here at Wild Ones. We promote native landscapes through education, advocacy, and collaborative action. We already talked a little bit about what we bought at our native plant sales, but we also had these other questions. What's blooming right now in everyone's yards? And anyone who winter sowed anything, how is that doing for you right now?
I'm here down in Hudson. I've got woodland stonecrop everywhere is just blooming. Those just kind of looks like white stars all over the place. So that's absolutely lovely.
I've got a white fringed tree, and it's really uncommon, and I'm not sure why it isn't used more. Because for a couple of weeks at this time of year, right after the crab apples and everything else blooms, then you've got this white fringe tree that really is a showstopper. When it's that I think should be in more landscapes. I haven't seen a lot of pollinators on it, so I'm not sure how much of a resource that is, but it's native and it's beautiful.
Sounds beautiful. Jessica added 9-bark, wild geranium, and wild columbine blooming currently. Those are good ones too. Okay. So our agenda today is Holly's talk on Science for All, how to engage in community science, some chapter updates, a recap of past events and upcoming events, and an update on our Northeast Ohio Native Habitat Corridor and our 1-year celebration. So with that, I'm going to let Holly take over for a bit and I'll stop sharing. Oh, stop. Sorry. Okay. I think you should be good now.
Okay. Is it there?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to get the opportunity to talk to you about community science. It's one of my favorite topics, and we do a lot of it in Portage Park District. Is anyone familiar with Portage Park District? Does anyone live in the county? Have you ever joined us for anything?
I'm right next door in Hudson, and I should join you for more things.
I agree. Come out.
I'm next door in Talmadge, and I've toured the Kent Bog and expansion before, so I really enjoy.
Well, that's exciting because the Kent Bog extension is now Kame Esker Bog Park and will be opened at the end of this year. So if you come November-ish, hopefully, you should be able to walk around a park.
Exciting.
Yeah, and I think
so. Is that the property across the street from the Kent Bog that I know?
Yes, so there's Kent, the Cooperrider State Nature Preserve, most people call it the Kent Bog. So they're the northern third, and we're the southern 2/3 of the same bog. So,
well, that's quite a triumph. Acquiring that property is in part to protect the bog itself and to kind of be a roadblock of development that it could have turned another way, and maybe it done other plans would have potentially damaged the bog itself.
Exactly. And what's even more exciting is that our part of the bog, the southern 2/3, now has the same protection as the state one. So they delineated it as the state. So the park will own it and operate it, but it has the same protections as the state nature preserve. So it has even heavier protections on it than just being a park. So it's really exciting. Okay, so let's get into it. If you are not familiar with this, I wanted to share our mission. So it's to conserve Portage County's natural heritage and provide opportunities for its appreciation and enjoyment. And if I asked you to pick out the most important word in there, you could probably say conserve is the big thing, right? So when you look at Portage Park District, we don't have dog parks, we don't have jungle gyms, we don't have disc golf, right? And those are all special things that people use and they have their place in society. But for our mission, we work on keeping Portage County looking like Portage County, and it's more a natural look. So that's probably one of my favorite parts of my job is I get to go out in a park and just walk in a forest or walk in a meadow, and it really it's beautiful. And then that last part is my job to provide opportunities and appreciation for its enjoyment. So you'll see a lot of QR codes through here. I thought about just putting the links in, but I put QRs just to make it maybe a little bit easier for everyone. And if you wanted to sign up for our newsletter, you can do it right there. And that way it comes out the first Thursday of every month, and that's all we email you, but it has all of the park happening. So if you wanted to drive over from Hudson or Talmadge, it tells you exactly what we're doing. And in the June newsletter, it's going to have all of the summer programs for June, July, and August. So you can see everything we're doing, and a lot ties in with community science. So when we talk about community science, what is it, right? You might have often heard it called citizen science, and you go back and forth. You might even hear me call it citizen science because that's how I learned it too. But community science has essentially 10 things that make it community science. But when I learned it, these were the 3. So I stuck with the 3 for simplicity's sake. But it actively involves the community in scientific endeavors. So you don't have to have a science degree. You don't have to be a scientist in order to do good science, right? So we want everybody in the community helping with our scientific endeavors. Next, it produces a genuine outcome. So you're not just out there for a heck of it. The things you're observing and you're counting and you're surveying matter, and they go towards real science and making decisions in the community and gearing where we go next with our science. And then finally, the data is made publicly available. So all the ones that I'm going to show you, you can go on their website and see what information is there and access it, and you can use it for your decisions as well. So I picked 6, and these are 6 that Portage Park District actively engages in. There are other small ones that I may talk briefly about, but here are the big 6. And if you want to help with any of them, just let me know. I put my email on that first slide, and it'll be on the last slide as well. So feel free to reach out if any of these spark your interest. Okay, and these are in no particular order, to be honest. I put them in order of how they were in my drive. So this is what my files look like. So with crowd hydrology, this is exciting. It's a partnership with Akron Watershed Division of the Akron Water Supply, and it's kind of a subset of crowd hydrology. And if you've heard of that, that is out of the University of Buffalo. So they came up with this way to track patterns in river hydrology, right? How much water is there? How fast is it moving? How fast is it getting out of the way? And it's super simple. You don't even need to be trained, okay? So you can go to a series of these posts. It's kind of small in the picture, but it is there. You can see these posts that are all around Akron in their watershed. And it gives you the directions right there on the post. So you look at essentially a geologist ruler in the water. You see where the water level is at, and then you text that figure to a number that's on that post. And then if you get a text back saying, thank you, your data was entered. And then you can go online later and see exactly where your water has changed depending on who entered data last. So it helps us measure rivers and waterways as they go. We have 2 in Portage Park District. One is at the Red Fox River access, and the other one is at Bookert Park in Manaway. Both of them are in Manaway. And you can do them whenever you want. I like going in the spring because it's interesting, because sometimes the water is so high when that Cuyahoga River gets up, the ruler is covered. You can't even see it. And most of the time, I can't even get to the sign the river is so high. But as you go throughout the summer, it's really interesting to see how the river changes. We do have 3 programs with Akron Watershed this summer if you want to come. They're called River Health Workshops. That's what you're going to want to look for on our Things to Do page, where we go and they give you kind of a spiel about more in detail on this. But the really fun part is that we get in the river and we look for macroinvertebrates. So you can put on your waders or your water shoes. We get in there with dip nets and seines and pull out macroinvertebrates. If you're not familiar with those, they're creatures you can see with the naked eye that don't have a backbone. So like the larva for our dragonflies or our damselflies or crayfish or stoneflies or caddisflies. And we're pulling them out and we can use the presence of those organisms to judge how healthy our waterways are. So it's a really good time if you want to come hang out for that. Is anyone a birder? Anyone like birds? Yeah, cool. I just went the last 2 Sundays up to the biggest week in birding up, in Ottawa National Park. And I saw some cool things, but if you want to come see things locally, this is one of the events you can do. So it's called the Christmas Bird Count. The span is from December 14th to January 5th, and different organizations pick out different days throughout that time span. So as we get closer, we'll release our date and you can sign up on our website to come out with us. Or if you're an avid birder, you can go and take your own section of this 15-mile radius circle. But it's through the National Audubon Society, and all you do is count birds. That's it. It's a wonderful day of birding. It's a bit of a bummer when it rains, but most of the time it's a beautiful day out to get and count your birds, right? Because I know a lot migrate, and we're really excited about warbler migration right now, but many birds that are beautiful and interesting stay here throughout the winter, and it's exciting to see them there. So the whole purpose of that is to survey the bird populations. And this is actually our oldest citizen science project for birds in the country, because around the year 1900s, it used to be standard for people to go out and to hunt things around Christmas time. And then there was a man named Frank Chapman who thought, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't hunt them. We should go and count them. And that's how the Christmas bird count started, right? Just having that idea that maybe counting would be better. And it stayed on for 125 years we just did. Okay, butterfly transect surveys. This is our newest one. We just started it in April, and it's been really exciting so far. So this is a partnership between the Cleveland Museum of Natural History and the Ohio Lepidopterist. If you haven't looked at them, they're a good community for butterflies and moths, but this specifically is for counting butterflies. And we know with climate change, sorry, my dogs are barking, habitat degradation, and habitat fragmentation, that butterfly populations are down. So this allows us to go out and count the butterflies and how many of each species are there. This is our most time-consuming one. It's once a week from April 1st to October 31st. And we do it every Friday, and that seems to work well, but we're actively training volunteers so that, like, if I have a program, like today I had a program with 75 fourth graders. So if I can't be there, we need trusted volunteers to be able to continue on and do the count. So we're trying to be pretty flexible and maybe change the time or the date around, maybe not always on a Friday. But that top QR code is for the Cleveland Museum of Natural History if you want to read about it. But if you're interested in coming out with us and counting butterflies, and mind you, you don't have to do it every Friday. I'm just inviting you to come do it maybe one Friday and see if you like it. And then come whenever you want. But that second one is just an interest form, and then I'll add you to the email list, and hopefully you'll come join us. I should say, going into this can be pretty intimidating because people say, I might know a monarch or a tiger swallowtail, but I don't know anything else. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to know how to identify any of the butterflies. But what we want is for people to give a description of them. And if anyone is a photographer or even a novice photographer, it's a great way to practice that skill. Because if you can get a picture of it, we can take it back and study that picture later, or even better, post it to iNaturalist, if you're familiar with that website, and get identification that way. So if you don't know butterflies, that's okay. You can still come count butterflies with us. Okay, this one is my pride and joy because it's the one I've been involved with the longest. It's Frog Watch USA. So it is a national organization, but what's really exciting is that the home base is right in our backyard at Akron Zoo. So if we have any questions, Carrie is right there at the zoo, and she knows all the frogs in her area, so we get really great feedback from them. But the whole purpose of this is to survey the frog and toad calls so that we can monitor not only those amphibian populations, but also wetland health, right? Because amphibians, they have that porous skin, so they can take in nutrients, and they're really, or not nutrients, but everything, right? And they're really good bioindicators. So if something is off in the wetland, then that's going to show in our amphibian populations. So if you come out, usually we do our training in early February because the season starts from February all the way through August. And I teach you all 11 frog and toad calls of Portage County. And it's a really cool party trick. Your friends won't think you're nerdy at all, but I'm guessing if you're a native plant enthusiast, you're okay with being called a nerd anyway. But it's a really good time. So if you want to come learn them, that's all you do. So you go out, you have a 2-minute acclimation period where you just, get used to being out in that setting and have whatever organisms are around, but you get used to you being there. And then you listen for 3 minutes. And you can record the sounds, but if you know them, you can just listen and you write down what you're hearing. So for 5 minutes, once a month, for 6 months, that's not a bad deal. And this is a really good, this and the butterfly transect surveys, I like to call them fair weather citizen science because, it can't be under 60 degrees, it can't be raining too hard, it can't be too windy. So you don't have to go out in the sleet and the snow because, these guys won't be out there either. So if you're interested, look for Frog Watch USA training on our website, and you can join us next year. The other thing I should say about this, we do have some spots in the park we would like monitored, but if you have wetlands in your own backyard and you hear frogs calling, you can sit on your deck in the middle of summer with a glass of wine and do your frog call. It's a really good way to contribute to community science without really committing a lot of time. So it's a good deal. This one, let's see, I think we're on our 3rd year now with the Ohio Crane Count. It's through the Ohio Bird Conservation Initiative and through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. And me, along with 2 of our other educators through Portage Park Districts, are the coordinators for Portage County. If you live in a different county, you can look on their website and see who your coordinators are. But you're more than welcome to email us and we'll find you a spot. But one Saturday in April, I think maybe it was the 2nd Saturday in April this year, you go out from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. And I know that doesn't sound, too appealing to people that aren't morning people, but that's the best time to see the birds. And, you can go out and get breakfast with your group after. But all you do is it's a driving survey. So you drive around your square that you're assigned, looking and listening for sandhill cranes. Has anyone ever seen a sandhill crane? Did you know we had sandhill cranes in Ohio? Anybody?
I think we saw them at LCC, I think 2 years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did that. So LCC, Lorraine County Community College, is really close to Sandy Ridge, Lorraine County Metro Parks,
Okay.
and they're known to be in the parks, but they travel around.
They do. Yeah. And what's wonderful is their populations are increasing. And that's kind of the point of the survey, is to see how well they're doing. And so far we're seeing an upward trend. It's interesting when I go, my parents live in Florida now, and when I go to visit them, the sandhill cranes walk around there like the deer walk around here. You'll just go and they'll be on a street corner by a gas station. But around here, they're a little bit more elusive. In some parts of the state, there are big sections of them. If you've ever been to Shreve, Ohio, which is around Worcester, I went to the Shreve Migration Sensation, which is also a big birding event for waterfowl. I was at a specific spot just off the side of the road and I counted over 100 of them. So it's really exciting to see that many big birds. And if you haven't heard them before, I suggest looking up the call of a sandhill crane, because if you want to hear what you think the dinosaurs sounded like, this is where you go. They're incredible creatures. So that's just a one day of the year count. So if you want to help us with that, let me know. And of course, you can get involved in your own county as well. So stream quality monitoring is very similar to our hydro watch. It just you don't monitor the hydrology as much. This is specifically for monitoring macroinvertebrates. So remember, they're the small creatures without a backbone. If you can see a little bit in this picture, that lighter thing with the two poles on the end is called a seine, and you put it in the riffles of a stream or a river, and you let it collect whatever is flowing by, okay? And when you pull them up, you can sift through it and try to find those macroinvertebrates. And there's a sheet you'll fill out, and it will give you a stream quality index and tell you how healthy the water is. And obviously, we have the Upper Cuyahoga, which is the state scenic river. So usually we find some good things in there. And if you wanted to become a volunteer for this, you can do a volunteer training through scenic rivers. And then I think you monitor a certain river that you're assigned 3 times a year. If you wanted to get trained, we're actually partnering with them. So you'll have to check the website for the date. It's either June or July 18th. I want to say June. But we're actually going to partner with them at Booker Park in Manaway, so that you can see exactly what they're doing when they pull these things out of the river. Okay. And then if you wanted other resources, the things I showed you are pretty local, but there's citizen science that you can contribute to, which might be nationwide or even worldwide. So citizenscience.gov is a good resource. I've heard that the Chicago Botanic Garden has a Citizen Science Academy, which is for classroom teachers, where it kind of is this intensive couple-day program where they teach you how to appropriately use citizen science in the classroom. And then National Geographic is also a good one. They have a lot of their own citizen science. There's an app that I've used before called Marine Debris Tracker. So if you're ever on a walk and picking up garbage, you can actually track where and what you picked up, and that helps them decide, what trash is out there, where it is, and then how to best deal with it. So that's a good one through National Geographic. And then 2 citizen science programs that I didn't mention because they're kind of on your own events is Project Feeder Watch and the Great Backyard Bird Count. Both of those are through the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. And essentially, if you feed birds in your backyard, you can count them, turn in that data, and then that counts as citizen science. So I don't know about you, I like looking at birds everywhere. So whether we're doing the crane count or if I'm looking at my feeders, then, all birds are all good. Okay, I think I saved just enough time for questions, but I wanted to point out here, if you wanted to sign up for our newsletter, that's the QR code on the left. Again, it comes out the first Thursday of every month and gives you all the information about what's happening throughout the whole park district. And then if you want to look specifically on our things to do page for what's going on in the park, that's that second QR code. And it only has through May, but once that June newsletter hits, you'll see all the events June through August. So it's going to be a very, very exciting summer. And with that, I'm happy to field any questions you might have about community science. And thank you for listening. I see things in the chat. Is that where I should go?
I see one question in the chat for you, yes. From Bruce. Can we do the butterfly survey at our homes?
So that is something you would have to check with the Ohio lepidopterist. From what I've learned from them, the answer is no, because they want you to walk a certain trail and you have to divide it into sections. So we're at Trail Lake Park, which is in Streetsboro, and we walk the entire loop. So I think we do a little over 1.5 miles, and that whole section is broken up into, the whole loop is broken up into 5 sections. So they want a variety of habitats, but it's, it's worth the ask. So if you reach out to the Lepidoptera Society, I think all butterfly data, is worthwhile data. So
Can you repeat which park you walk around in Streetsboro?
it's called Trail Lake Park.
Trail Lake Park?
Yeah, it's on Ravenna Road. It's now our second newest park. It opened during the pandemic, November of 2020, but it's 222 acres and it has a 33-acre lake in the middle of it with an ADA accessible kayak launch. So yeah, it's beautiful. So It's really good for like puppy therapy too, because everyone brings their dogs there. So if you just sit at the front table and ask people to pet their dogs,
I
it's a
love those
good
parks.
day.
You know, where it's just it's so much fun and you get to meet so many cool people that way.
It is. Look at Jessica's pictures of all those sandhills. That's incredible. It looks like they're doing their mating display too. That one in the back looks like it's hopping around.
Yeah, there was a huge amount of them. We were really surprised. We were in the prairie area seed collecting at early November, and they just suddenly were there and we were taking photos and stuff.
How special.
Mhm.
That's wonderful. Okay.
Any other questions for Holly? Anyone? Well, thank you so much, Holly. Those all sound like awesome ways to get involved, and hopefully everyone checks out these resources from Portage Park District.
Yeah. And then if you want to take a picture of my email, or if you just look at portageparkdistrict.org, my information is there, but I'd be happy to answer any other questions you have about any of these programs. So thank you.
Thank you, Holly. You're welcome to enjoy your evening or stay with us at our general meeting. I'm gonna take back the screen now.
Okay, let me stop sharing. I would love to stay, but the dogs need fed, so I'm gonna.
I understand, yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. Hope to see you in person soon.
Wait, sorry, Holly, before you go,
Okay.
I just put something in the chat, but I was wondering if you had any updates on those button bush live stakes, if you'd had the chance to check them out. Have any leafed out?
I did. You know what? I haven't seen if they leaked out, but I do have to do the butterfly survey on Friday. If you don't know what Maggie's talking about, through the was it the Chagrin watershed?
Yeah, Portage Soil and Water Conservation District and Chagrin River Watershed.
Okay, so they did a live staking program, and we went to Trail Lake Park and did live staking with some community members. We had what, at least 20 people there
Yeah.
that not only learned how to do it and put button bush in our little wetland there, but also got to take them home. So if you email me, I'll give you an update. But the last time I checked, they were not dead. So
Okay, good. Thank you.
yeah, thanks everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
I love your assistant, Erin.
I do have an assistant that just joined. This is Paka, the cat. Okay, can we see my screen again?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Bruce, what is that picture on your wall, that poster? Is that of a lake?
No, that poster is a 1960s World's Fair poster from General Electric. My dad worked for Neela Park and was at the World's Fair. It is the General Electric view on what space travel was going to be.
Oh, how fascinating.
And so it's like it's like guys in shorts on spaceships and GE data on how they were going to light the spaceships.
Jetsons, right?
It's one of those really cool things I have from my dad.
Yeah.
Very cool. Are you guys able to see the screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so a welcome to our 9 new members since our last meeting. I don't see any here tonight, but if you are here and you'd like to say hi, please shout out. And if you're interested in becoming a member to support our programming, please consider checking out this website or scanning this QR code. Some volunteer opportunities we have upcoming. I'm gonna go through real quick. We have a lot of events upcoming in May and June. These are the busy growing season, as we all know. So we have lots of tabling events at plant sales and whatnot. So there are volunteering slots on our website to check out if you're interested in spreading the good word. We have a whole bunch of different committees you could join if you're interested. We have annual meeting committee if you're very organized, our garden tour committee, and a Northeast Ohio Native Habitat Corridor Committee. We're looking for a volunteer coordinator, people to join our social media team, and people to join our Keystone Workshop team, as well as communication. So lots of different opportunities out there to think on, or if you know anybody you think would be good for these options, let them know. Here are some upcoming volunteer opportunities. We are going to be at the Heights Eco Fest, Saturday, June 7th. The Medina County Parks District Native Plant Sale, June 14th. And the Bee City Festival on June 20th. So I think this QR code will take you right to those links to sign up if anybody is interested. We are also finalizing our summer garden tours. This is the last call for anybody who's potentially interested in opening their garden in their home, not their home, just their garden to a tour. Scan this QR code or check out our website to get on that. It wouldn't just be your garden. My understanding is it would be several gardens in the area, but to be determined. Or if you're interested in being on the garden planning committee, you can help us organize that. So another QR code if you're interested. Here are some recent events we've been up to at Wild Ones. We at Wild Ones hike slowly and look at the plants and creatures. So here looks like a nice slow hike at North Chagrin Reservation and Sand Run Metro Park. Any attendees of those events have anything cool to share from that?
What is the little, do we know what the little, what is that, a salamander, orange salamander is?
I want to say that's an eastern spotted newt, something like that.
Beautiful.
Anyone else know?
That's a spotted newt. Yes,
Very cool.
they're really curious amphibians that they're in that phase. They're kind of juveniles, and then they become aquatic after being terrestrial, which is kind of a break from the tradition.
That's pretty interesting. Thank you, Ray. We've also been at a lot of Earth Day festivities. Anyone want to share anything from any of their events?
Well, we had a great time at Lorain County Community College, and there we are with our bee antenna in the lower right-hand corner of that slide. It was just a lot of fun. So I encourage anybody that's a member that is thinking about volunteering and they just don't feel comfortable about tabling because they don't feel like they're an expert, just go out and do it. Just join with somebody that is experienced at tabling and go out and be there and learn and talk to people. It's a lot of fun.
The only thing that's required is your enthusiasm.
Agreed.
I would
It's a
agree
lot of
with
fun.
I would agree with that as well. I worked with Diane at the Akron Children's Zoo event, and that was just so much fun. It was really neat to kind of be able to engage with kids and to be able to talk to, you know, all age ranges and all age groups about sort of native habitats and hear about how all these kids are super excited about gardens and butterflies. And so it was pretty neat.
Adorable. I still have more tabling events. We've been very busy. We were at the Twinsburg Native Habitat Association's workshop and plant sale. And we were at all 5 Cleveland Metro Parks native plant sales. Kudos,
Ooh.
kudos to everybody there. Looks like a whole bunch of great plant sales happening.
We must have a great volunteer coordinator on staff, to make all of those things happen at one time.
Very clearly we do. We clearly have the best one for any nonprofit, certainly in Northeast Ohio.
I'm impressed. Yeah, I love this group because it manages to pull off so much that most, in my experience with the nonprofits I've been at, if they can do one event at a time, they're tripping over their own feet. And here we seem to do it, like a salsa.
Very kind words. It takes everybody. Diab hosted a social unwind and unvine in Cuyahoga County. I did attend this one, as well as Jessica and maybe a couple others here. Can confirm it was a lovely time. Removing invasive ivy, teaching our volunteers how the best practices for doing that, and having a nice social time. And Diab is featuring both of our signs. We are currently selling our native habitat corridor sign and our native garden in progress sign. Very recent addition and beautiful. Anyone else want to share any lessons learned from unwinding and unvining? Okie dokie.
I think we just had a great time. I think it was a little bit of educational, a lot social, and I think it was just a great time to hang out with people and talk, get a chance to talk and geek out about native plants while being productive and removing invasive species.
Agreed. I did feel productive for a Friday night, removing some invasive ivy, and we had an artistic English ivy vine created. That's what this last picture is. Not a native plant at the bottom. Well,
Does English ivy cause a skin reaction? No?
I've
don't
heard that they
believe so.
can, but not everyone gets it.
Yeah, so I think our hope is to eventually do more events like this, and continue educating about removing different invasive species. So be on the lookout for more of those. We were also at the Summit Metro Parks Native Plant Festival. Here's Kim with the beautiful yellow lady slipper orchid aforementioned.
I was very excited to find this plant. Very excited. Totally made my day.
This is also a wonderful event. I've gone every year they've had it, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. The parking lot gets full. People get sent to the grass, and it's exciting to see the interest in native plants continue to grow. Kim or Jessica, any other thoughts you'd like to share from the Native Plant Festival?
Just
I
that
think
if
it's one of my
people-
favorites.
Sorry,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Kim. Okay. I think it's one of my favorites because this is one of those few times that almost all of the Northeast Ohio and actually Ohio native plant nurseries are in one spot. There's only a couple that are missing. So it's such a great opportunity to see different things. And it's also a great time to place an order with somebody and meet them to pick it up, like my button bushes.
And I would just add that, I mean, it really, and I think everybody there would agree, it was really truly a festival feeling to the whole event. It was pretty amazing to sort of stand at one end when it was sort of at its fullest and see just how many people were there talking to vendors and learning all kinds of stuff. And, there were food and music and presentations. And it was really, if nobody's checked it out before, it really is a lovely event.
Agreed, and I think there's a couple more native plant sales going on too, so plenty of time to get out if you haven't made it to one yet. And we did a community garden planting with Paradise Natives at Hudson Springs Community Garden. Don't believe Antonio or anyone
I think
can
I'm
take
the
us
only one
with.
here from that event.
Yeah.
It was
And
a long day, man. We started, I don't think any of us really understood the scope of this project when we pulled up. I was talking to Janice, I was like, I thought we were just gonna plant plants. Like, I thought this was like a 2 hour in and out thing. We started at 10 and we were done, I think, at 3 something. I mean, it was hard labor, like all day long. And
wow.
it was really amazing. We showed up and we got rid of all these invasives that were growing into these beds. And then we laid out soil and we laid out plants and we put the plants in the ground and then we mulched everything. And it was really amazing what that group of people got done in such a short period of time. I mean, truly, it was miraculous, the change before and after. I wish we had like one final photo of, the two of them side by side, but it was a lot of fun. Everybody there had a really good time, I think.
Is this a blend of wild ones and
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Hudson community?
Thank you, Erin, for pointing that out. So this is a partnership between Friends of Hudson Parks and Wild Ones. And I think Antonio was kind of the one who orchestrated the connection between the two groups. So Friends of Hudson Park has tons of native plant programs that they have planned. And so the partnership with us is really kind of neat to bring the two groups together. Hopefully we'll start to see sort of more members coming out of that area. But it was a ton of fun.
Thank you, Kim. Yes, we're hoping to continue to influence more community garden groups into the native planting realm. Some other upcoming events. Kim is hosting a softwood propagation workshop again at Hudson Springs Park. And it is so popular, it is already a waitlisted event. But if this sounds interesting to you, you can still get on the wait list in case people cancel. If you are signed up for this event and you know you're no longer able to go, please do let us know because there is a wait list of people excited to learn. Any other things you'd like to add, Kim?
No, just that, we'll have a variety of different plants to propagate. All you need to do is, if you could bring a milk jug, or some other container that's in the instructions. I think we're gonna have a good time. We'll have a little bit of food. We're right by a lake, or well, I guess a pond. But it's a pretty spot, so I think we'll have a good time. And if everybody can walk over and see the garden we just installed this last Sunday, because we'll be just down a path, not even half a mile away from it.
That's great timing. That's great timing. Sounds exciting. We have a behind the scenes nursery tour and social at Avonlea Gardens up in Chardon in Geauga. And I just recently went there this past weekend, so can confirm it's a beautiful nursery, wonderful selection of native plants and other natural products you might need for your garden, like good undyed mulch and mushroom compost. Picked some up for myself this past weekend. So please register for that if you're interested. And they do sell our native habitat corridor sign in person and online as well. We're going to have a summer solstice social in Amherst with Ray. Would you like to introduce your event, Ray?
Well, sure. This is the summer solstice. It's a way to inaugurate summer. Time to have some fun, and just food and I think a great outdoor experience. Let me say something about the Sandstone Village. It's a part of the Amherst Historical Society. There's about 20 acres, and it's got a lot of historic buildings there, and we get to use one of them. We have access to that. We may have access to one or two of the other historic buildings that are on site. So those who are interested in history may be especially interested in this event too. And I hope we can walk around and and see all of this. There's 3 resale shops on site where, if you're interested in shopping, that'll be available during these hours too. But I've got a pollinator garden project going on with this group. In fact, I've put in, over 100 plants just in the last 2 days in a garden there. So we could go and take a look at, what's happening with the pollinator garden I started last year, and the new stuff that just got put in this year. And I would really love to fly kites. There's a lot of wide open space here too, because they need the space for historical reenactors and for this and that. And so there's just a huge amount of space, perfect for flying a kite. And I'd love to invite people to come with a kite that has a nature theme on it, with a butterfly or a bird or something. I think this would be a great photo op that could be used in, programs and publicity and stuff like that. So I'm looking at this from a couple of different dimensions. And we'll have a potluck dinner and just hang out and have a good time.
Thank you, Ray. Sounds like a wonderful event. So sign up, bring a kite, and bring something to the potluck to celebrate summer. We also have an event in June to celebrate our 1-year anniversary of the Northeast Ohio Native Habitat Corridor. It's been 1 year as of May 3rd, 2024, I believe. And first, I just wanted to do a little recap about the corridor for anyone new coming in, to talk about what it is and what our goals are. Right now, we have 170 gardens as a part of our corridor. So help us get to 200 by continuing to spread the word. But just to recap, the Northeast Ohio Native Habitat Corridor was a project Wild Ones launched last year. The brainchild of our very own Jessica, as well as Julie Slater with Meadow City Nursery. So our team has expanded since then, and many of us have been involved. Anya, Milkweed Matt, and Diab are a part of the corridor team. And we are always looking for more people to help out. So if you are interested, please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to join the team. Our goal with the corridor is to connect our community and personal gardens and continue to create those habitat corridors and pollinator pathways. Cassie created this beautiful graphic showing what that connectivity brings for our biodiversity and food chains. This is all pulled from a brochure that we distribute when we're talking about the Native Habitat Corridor at events. So the Native Habitat Corridor, we have a map you can get on for free, and you can check out that map and get ideas and see what other people are doing in their gardens and read about it. That's one of my favorite things to do, is get to see each garden come in and read about how people describe both the process of getting to their gardens, or what plants they choose to put in their garden, or what they see that comes to their garden. Is all really, really cool to see. We sell a sign in person at these tabling events, as well as some local nurseries. And we have it up and running to sell online, which is huge, that anybody can buy it and then it is distributed and sent to their home. which also supports our chapter. And we have an ambassador program in the works, so more to come on that. These are our 2025 Native Nurseries locations that are selling our physical signs. Avonlea, Meadow City, Planet Native up in Willoughby. Wild Acre is down in Lexington, Ohio. This isn't accurate. It should be a little more west, but I made the snip of the map too small. And the Nodding Onions Gardens in North Olmsted, Ohio. So those are all options to check out to get a sign or to support by by purchasing some of their native plants as well. And as I mentioned, Anya has gotten us up and running for online sign sales, which is amazing. And we just gotten versions of our native garden in progress. So this is a wonderful big sign you can put in your garden, especially if you're feeling a little anxiety at all, if your garden's caught the attention of some neighbors with some questions. The sign can help. The back is beautiful. It is basically this top part of this brochure explaining the benefits of connectivity and what you're doing with native gardening and why you're doing it. So all helpful in our educational mission here at Wild Ones. This sign is not for sale online currently, just a note. So that would be something you could purchase when we have it at our tabling events or socials. And this meeting chapter topic was fitting, community science, because we have some exciting additions to our native habitat corridor. We are going to expand it to iNaturalist this summer, very soon for our 1-year celebration party. So some of us are familiar with iNaturalist, but if you aren't, that's okay. It is a citizen science tool website that allows you to document different species, plants, animals, insects, everything in life. And it's wonderful because it's taken the best of AI and both human and computer intelligence by once you upload, what you do is you take a picture of something and you might know what it is already, but if you don't know what it is, it will make suggestions to you. And the more observations that iNaturalist has, the better the suggestions get. I personally think it's one of the best apps for native plants in particular. Other kinds of apps I don't think do so well with natives. Not to say take the time to learn how to identify things on your own, certainly. But this is a wonderful tool, and humans do verify the observations to confirm it for species too. So I think iNaturalist is a wonderful website, and our goal is to kind of expand the reach of the corridor and allow people to join our project and document what they're seeing in their garden. And then we'll be able to see what's on the corridor in its entirety ultimately. So more to come on this. The project, we'll certainly give tutorials and walkthroughs and help everyone with wanting to join this project if you're interested. And we are going to have vinyl stickers of our native habitat corridor coming soon to be distributed to all current members of the corridor and at our celebration. So save the date for our 1-year celebration. It is Sunday, June 29th It's going to be at Impact Park in Cleveland, Ohio, which is another place we did a wetland garden installation at. So this will also be a potluck barbecue. We'll have food. There's a playground. We'll do tours of our wetland garden installed last year, and I think there's also a nice woods to be able to walk through. This is a family-friendly event. Yeah, so come out and celebrate with us. Save the date. And if you're not yet on the map, this is an old picture. Please join us in our continuous growth of our corridor. And we have a call to action to all of us to continue to follow us on social media and spread the word to help us reach our goal of having 200 members at our club. But yeah, please consider joining us at a future event or social. This is the end of the slides. So if anyone else has anything they'd like to share or chat about, feel free. Okay, well, I appreciate everybody joining on this Tuesday, and I hope your garden planting and tending goes well this week, and see you at a Wild Ones event soon.